Right, we're going to write this number as an n in standard form, okay? Now to put numbers in standard form, you've got to have it in the form where you've got something like a point whatever times 10 to something, 10 to the x, okay? And the a must be a digit between 1 and 9, including 1 and 9. It can't have a naught and it can't have 2 digits. It's only a single digit number. So we want to move the decimal place so we end up with just a single digit number. So we need 4.80. We move it twice. So that means we've divided by 100. So we need to times by 100. So it's going to be the same as this, times by 100. Now 100 as a power of 10 is 10 squared. And when we have indices, we should know, okay, that you add the indices together to combine them, so you get 4.80 times 10 to the 11 is our final answer here. Now it says write n as a product of powers of its prime factors. Now the cleverest trick to do here is to realise that 10 is 2 times 5. Okay, that's what you've got to realise in this question, is the clever way to do it. I know some people wrote this number out, so 48000, all those zeros on the end, and then did a huge prime factorisation of that. The best way to do it is to write it like this. Write it as 48 times 10 to the 10. So it's in between these two. Get rid of the 0, because you don't need to do that, because it can be a nice 10. And then you just realise that 10 to the 10 is 2 to the 10 times 5. So I better do this properly, because you'll make mistakes and follow these through. You do 2 times 5 to the 10, and then we've got 48 over here, which we want to prime factorise. So I'm going to prime factorise the 48. So 2 goes into that 24, 2 goes into that 12, 2 goes into that 6, 2 goes into that 3. So I've got another 1, 2, 3, 4 powers of 2 coming into this. So I've got a 2 to the 4 times, and I've got a 3 coming in there. So I've got 2 to the 4 times 3. Now if I do these both to this power of 10, I've got to get 2 to the 10 times 5 to the 10. And then I combine the 2's to get 2 to the 14 times 3 times 5 to the 10 is my final answer to this question. Now there's one last bit to this. It says find the largest factor of n that is an odd number. So we've got to think, what gives us odd numbers? Well, you should realise that any odd number times any odd number is an odd number. I can prove it just quickly actually. This would be good for learning proofs, because if you're struggling with this question, you're probably going to struggle with this. That's an odd number because I've times an integer by 2 to get an even number, and if I add 1 to it, I make it odd. So these are both odd numbers, and therefore actually what I ought to do is times by a different odd number. What I could do is just to do any odd number to make sure it's totally sorted. Call this another integer we don't know. So there's 2 different odd numbers. So if I do 2n times 2m, I get 4nm, and I get plus 2n, I get plus 2m, and 1 times 1 is plus 1. And what I can see is I can take out a factor of 2 of this bit. Yeah, so that's a factor of 2 plus 1. So now that's even, because I've got 2 times something. Plus 1 means it has to be odd. So an odd number times an odd number must be an odd number. So therefore, we can times all the odd numbers together to get our largest factor of n. And what we do, therefore, what we do is we do 3, which is odd, times 5 to the 10. They're all odd numbers, to get our largest factor that's an odd number. Grab your calculator. So 3 times 3 times 5 to the power of 10 equals, and you write down that answer, 292,96875. Okay, and that's how you do that one.